Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome back to my Saturday Hodgepodge, my weekly wrap-up of books I've been reading and bookish things. Today is pretty much just going to be a Saturday which I do some BookTube staples. I'm going to do my December wrap-up, and I'm going to do my January TBR, and talk a little bit about my Christmas present because I'm really excited about that. So that's about it. So this month I have read so far 6 books. I know, so far. There's a book I didn't finish, which I'm going to try to finish today or tomorrow to get it out of the way. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So the first book I read this month was The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemison. This is the third in the Broken Earth trilogy, the award-winning Broken Earth trilogy, which I can highly recommend as a fantasy series. I don't read a lot of fantasy anymore, and I was incredibly impressed by all 3 of these books. This was a buddy read I did with Lukas from Cruel Reader's Thesis. That's the name of his channel. And it was a great buddy read as always with Lukas, and it was just a remarkable way, I thought, to bring a whole lot of really complicated threads and storylines and ideas together to make an exciting ending. So I read that. By the way, that was also part of my effort last year, 2020, to read more genre fiction, to read a little bit outside my comfort zone, so that was fantasy. I had not read a horror novel yet in 2020, so World War Z came highly recommended, so I picked that up and read it. I have to say, while I'm impressed with the depth and the research and the thought that went into the book, I didn't really think it was that great or that well written. So there's that. The next read was that I picked up was probably one of the most me books ever. That's called The Old Man and the Sand Eel. This was essentially a story or a memoir of the author Will Millard and his relationship to fishing and his grandfather. It reflects somewhat on nature, on what we're doing to nature, but it really is a lot about fishing and a little bit about his grandfather, and I enjoyed that a lot. And then, because I love to read Balzac in the wintertime, I read 2 kind of short novellas or long short stories of Balzac, The Unknown Masterpiece, and then the second one was Gambara. I always get that name wrong. Anyway, the second story was Gambara. So I read these 2. They were good. The Unknown Masterpiece is I think, the cover tells me, is one of Balzac's more famous stories, and it kind of brings in an issue of kind of the fine line between artistic genius and insanity and just pure madness. I think it does that very well. I enjoyed it. It's Balzac. I'm going to like it. I read Brian Washington's debut novel, Memorial, which I liked quite a lot. I realized I put out a review of this, and I'm afraid in the review I sounded much more negative about the story or the book than I actually am. I really liked it. I thought it was very good. There were a few things about it that I didn't, that didn't necessarily work for me, but I thought it was a really good book. Very, very good at communicating emotion and feelings and creating memorable characters. And kind of unusual events. I thought it was very good. And then I also did a buddy read with Patrice Jones of this book called Lost in Math, How Beauty Leads Physics Astray by Sabine Hossenfielder. This is a book that I'd seen that Marc Nash had ranked among his best books, best reads of this year. I don't think I felt as positively about it as Marc did, and probably because I didn't understand the physics as much as he did. But I really like the author's point in the book, and that is that from her point of view, scientists are kind of become too dependent on old ways of thinking and old concepts of beauty and aesthetics and symmetry and simplicity, and what they are more interested in seem to be theories for which the math is beautiful, which the formulas are somewhat simple, and they're not necessarily doing and focusing maybe on research that could actually be more productive. And she's worried that they're actually abandoning the important part of science, which is, actually collecting data and observation that supports theories. The 7th book I started in December was The Play of Doves by Louise Erdrich. I'm about halfway through. It's January the 1st. As I'm filming this, you'll be watching it January the 2nd. And I hope to be finished. I saw Doris did her last Vlogmas vlog, or her last vlog of December. And she said she hates to have a book carry over from one year to the next, and I do too. So I'm hoping to get finished with the Erdrich book as fast as possible, in part because since I did start it in December, I do still think it has a chance of making my top 10 books of the year, and I'll be posting that video on Tuesday of next week, one way or the other, and it may sneak in there somewhere near the bottom of the list. I can already tell it's not going to be my top read of the year, and then a lot of the books on my list will come ahead of it, but it is possible. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little grace to get that book completed, and then I will make that list of my top 10 reads or books of the year. So that's the wrap up. Or that's a wrap-up of what I read in December and obviously what I'm still reading. I also wanted to go ahead and do a January TBR. I don't always do TBRs, in part because I often find myself questioning, what's the actual point of doing a TBR, just read. But this month's TBR is different because what I wanted to spend January doing is reading books that had been recommended to me by other booktubers. So that's kind of what my TBR for January is. Now, these can be books that were specifically recommended to me, or just that I saw on people's channels and maybe they mentioned more than once, or maybe they seemed really enthusiastic about, and I was motivated to get copies of these books and read them. Some of these books I've had for quite some time, which is another reason why I want to get to reading these books. So the first one of those books is This Is Not a Novel and Other Novels by David Markson. Markson is one of my friend Marc Nash's favorite authors, and this is a book he recommended to me. I believe I've had this book since February of last year, but I definitely want to get to it this year and read it because Marc's taste in books is always interesting and fascinating to me, and so I'm looking forward to getting to that. Here just recently, I saw on one of Britta Bohler's, I believe, Tops and Flops videos for December that she had read An Inventory of Losses by Judith Schalansky. This was originally published in German, and the translator is Jackie Smith. And this is kind of a book of things that we have lost in the modern world. And I don't know how well you can see it, but I have to tell you that this is one of those books where just holding it and the physicality of the book is just really interesting to me. It's kind of a little narrow. Anyway, so I don't want to go gush too much about the book, but I wanted to read that. Saw that on Britta's channel. I also wanted to read Angel of Repose by Wallace Stegner. This is a novel that's been recommended to me by Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and she believes it's an incredibly beautiful novel. I believe she talks about it being a novel about marriage and family, so I wanted to read that. And then I have a really beat up copy of Oscar and Lucinda, which I got from Half Price Books, which is one of my friends, Jason's from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, favorite books. As a matter of fact, I think he did a reading of the first chapter on his channel just recently. Sorry, Jason, I didn't watch and comment on that, but I knew I was going to be putting this Peter Carey novel that you love so much on my TBR for January. In addition to that, I also wanted to read a novel I saw on Silje's channel. If you don't know about Silje, she is a Norwegian booktuber, and she has the most beautiful videos when she goes out for a walk. It always makes me want to go to Norway. And the name of the novel is The Other Name, and it's by Jon Fosse, I believe is how you say his name with a Norwegian accent. In America, we just say John Fosse. That's what his name looks like. It's called The Other Name, and I was watching a video that she did, I think in November, and she just talked about how much she loved the book, and so I thought, well, that sounds like a book for me. So I have a copy of that book on order. You probably have already seen that I put an image of the cover over here because I don't have a physical copy yet. And then, if I have time, which I don't think I will, I want to read Delta Wedding by Eudora Welty, which if you haven't seen Shawn's Book Maniacs videos, from December, he loved that novel. It's the one, I think, Eudora Welty novel that I don't have a physical copy of, and so I'm going to try to get a copy of that and read it, but I think I'm going to get a copy of that as an ebook because my lovely wife got me a Kindle Paperwhite ebook reader, which I am hoping to get Delta Wedding on and read it as an ebook. I've been pretty good about not buying too many books. I only have 4 in my library right now, and I think 3 of them were free. But I am looking forward to getting into reading ebooks and hopefully saving my eyes a little bit of stress by reading an ebook from time to time because I make the font bigger. I haven't really read anything on there yet, but I am excited to get started on those ebooks. So as always, look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.